San Bernardino, California. Of course, after this tragic incident yesterday, more calls for gun control. So let's talk about that. I'm joined by Dan Gross. He's the president of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence. Welcome.
Thanks, Carol.
Okay, we seem to have the same argument every time these incidents happen, and nothing really changes. So, you know, I wish I had more time to talk to you, but we only have a couple of minutes, so give me your best answer, Dan.
First of all, things are changing. There's change sweeping across this country, state by state. We're expanding Brady background checks to all gun sales. It seems the last to wake up is almost always Congress, and it's a question of the American public making its voice heard. 93% of the American public supports expanding Brady background checks to all gun sales. This helps keep guns out of the hands of only the people that we all agree shouldn't have them. Convicted violent criminals, domestic abusers, would-be terrorists. The American public supports these solutions, keeping guns out of the hands of people intent on doing harm. It seems that the only place where there isn't a significant percentage of support is in Congress, and we need to change that. We need to close this disgraceful disconnect that exists between what the American public wants, what's in our best interest in terms of our safety, and what our elected leaders are doing about it. And that voice is rising. You know, just in the last 12 hours plus, we've put more than 4,000 calls into the Senate. You can text enough to 877-877 and we'll connect you directly to the Senate. This comes down to the American public making its voice heard and calling out these craven politicians who are putting the interests of the corporate gun lobby ahead of the interests of the American public.
Okay, so give me some pushback to the argument that, you know, had someone had a gun inside that county office building, that 14 people wouldn't have died.
It's nonsense. First of all, these people were heavily they were wearing armor, so that right there dismisses it. My brother was shot in a terrorist attack that was a mass shooting. Anybody on top of the Empire State Building, anybody who was close to that situation, anybody who's been close to the mass confusion associated with one of these tragedies knows that the addition of more untrained people carrying weapons only increases the possibility of somebody dying. The big problem, though, is this is not the conversation that the American public wants to have. We don't believe that the only answer to violence is more violence, that the only answer to guns is more guns. We believe that this is about keeping guns out of the hands of people who are intent on doing harm. And the bottom line is we can do so much better in doing that. 93% of the American public, 90% of Republicans, 80% of gun owners, 70% of NRA members support this solution. This is the conversation that we need to have, not kind of resorting back to this primal notion that our only answer to violence is more violence and our only answer to guns is more guns.
All right, Dan Gross, thanks for joining me. And thanks to all of you for joining me. I'm Carol Costello, reporting live from San Bernardino, California. At this hour with Berman and Baldwin starts now.